Welcome to the Lawless Astrology channel and Astrology by Celeste. We are here again. We are going to talk about the full moon in Gemini and what's going on this week in the world of astrological politics. We're going to reflect back on all the drama that unfolded and is continuing to unfold with that new moon in Scorpio. But we really are also going to look at Pete Hegseth's chart, who just got the South Park treatment last week. So all sorts of good stuff. So if you're interested in all that, please stick around. Welcome, Celeste. You want to say hi, tell people what you're up to these days?
Hi, everyone. I'm Celeste of Astrology by Celeste, and so happy to be talking about these exciting transits. We are watching the greatest movie ever told in real time. We have a comic book villain as a president. It's just like unbelievable. But I do want to promote my 2026 Lunar Planning Guide. It's only $22. We'll put a link in the chat, and it will help you work through every single one of these moon cycles in 2026 and give you prompts, affirmations, help you stay present with the energy and your goals.
I love it. Okay, that's exciting. So that will be down. I'll put it in a pinned comment and will also be in the description box. And I am launching on Friday, finally, my transit class. So for everybody that took Foundations 1, Foundations 2, Transits is here, and I'm super excited. I don't have the link to share with everybody yet, but I will have it on Friday. I will put it in my community, and then I will start sharing it over email and sharing it with everybody. So I hope that you attend. Please attend. There's going to be 2 live sessions as well. It's the exact same format as last time. There are 5 recorded sessions as well as 2 bonus sessions. And then we're going to do live where I'm going to do example charts. So it's impossible to get a reading with me, it seems like these days. I'm going to open up February soon, but it's a good opportunity potentially to have me let you know what's coming up in 2026. Okay, let's do it. Celeste, do you want to talk about, do we want to kind of do a little bit of a reflection on that dramatic Scorpio new moon that happened? Do you have that chart? Do you want to
Yeah, let me
share
share
that?
that
Okay.
chart.
Make sure I've got multiple
Oh, you got
participants.
to let me.
There you go.
Okay. So the moon cycles, every month we have a new moon that sets the stage. Things are seated at the new moon where the sun and the moon come together, whisper secrets to each other. The sun is the conscious mind, the moon is the subconscious mind. The sun is the leader, the moon is the people, and it's dark. So we don't necessarily know what's coming to fruition. And then we move from the new moon to the full moon, which is the culminating energy where the sun and the moon are opposite each other. It's dramatic, it's dynamic. So we had this new moon at 28 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct Mercury retrograde. You see all of that here on November 20th, and it was opposite Uranus. So, and the degrees, the difference between the degrees can be about timing. And Scorpio and Taurus are fixed signs. So we knew there would be a big event, likely a week after this new moon. Now, the T, remember last time, if you haven't seen it, you can watch the episode. We talked about JD Vance, Usha Vance, and the widow, that there may be a story because Usha Vance's moon, which rules family, home, relationships, is at 28 degrees of Scorpio, and I showed her chart. What happened after that new moon is she came out looking brand new with no wedding ring on her finger, was something that happened. Venus was in Scorpio at that time. So we had predicted there would be a story about her in her marriage. And that was it, because of that lady running her hands through her husband's hair. He's been talking bad about her, about how she needs to be a Christian, blah, 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 blah. So that was one of the big stories. So do you want to say anything about that before I say something about the really big story?
Oh no, it's just funny because she said, oh, she took it off to wash dishes. Okay, like that lady's washing dishes. Who believes that? Raise your hand.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
no, she's a Scorpio moon. She is sending a very clear signal. She's strategic. She does things beneath the surface. She was sending a very clear signal to that man. He better get it straight, or she was going to make his life a living hell. If he thinks the president makes his life a misery, the president's Pluto is on JD Vance's sun, so that can be signs of like I think he humiliates him for fun.
There's going to be some stories next year with the changing of the nodes too to
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius Leo,
Mm-hmm.
especially him being a Leo. So that's something that we can talk about next year and watch out for. But there's going to be a story there that catapults him into the spotlight in some way.
Yes. And then when Mercury was opposite Uranus, uh, oh no, was it Mercury opposite Uranus?
It
When
was Uranus
Marjorie
opposite this nodes, yeah, which was next to Mercury.
and Marjorie Taylor Greene quit Congress, she says her last day is going to be January 5th. And she went out there and gave all her reasons about, and we talked, I don't know, did we talk about the fact that this new moon was conjunct Black Moon Lilith?
Yeah, but
We might not have. Let me put Black Moon Lilith on here because that is a woman who will not be submissive. She refused. She was Adam's first wife, and she refused to lay underneath him. Now there also have been several stories about women who, just don't behave in a way that is like a woman who just up and leaves her children can also be symbolic of the shadow of Black Moon Lilith. But let me save
I think
that.
her daughter came out and defended her against Trump this past week too, which is
Oh,
interesting. So
so see,
she was being vocal.
see here, Black Moon Lilith here at 26. So there were big stories about information releases, Scorpio power struggle, Black Moon Lilith. After Marjorie Taylor Greene said, I'm out of here, there was another woman who was talking vocally about how she's considering leaving. And there are all these rumors about Republicans who are jumping ship. And they've talked about how terribly the White House treats them. So
Yeah, we did
it's
have another a MAGA congressman announce his retirement. I think they know the writing is on the wall. I do think that this was very symbolic and an omen for what's to come. She did not consult with Johnson. He got that message the same time we all did. And I think that in itself was a big message. And I think that a lot of people are going to take their cues from her, um, as they have been for some time. And so again, like this is not to praise her, it's to say, um, she was somebody who towed the line for him, who dedicated herself to him. I believe she sincerely believed in him, and he called her a traitor. And so I think it highlights the transactional nature of this particular administration and anybody, and I think that's going to play into what we talk about with Hegseth too. It's like you think that you're safe because you're in power, but when it's all said and done, everybody's expendable. And I think that this sent that message to a lot of people.
absolutely, and it's landslide energy at this new moon. Uranus, see how Uranus in Taurus, which is an earth sign, is at 29 degrees of Taurus, and Neptune's at 29 Pisces. All this water, all this land. I mean, we're seeing literal landslides in Asia right now, but this is that same energy here in the United States with these massive shifts in the political landscape as the president's having a power outage. He's weak. He's old, he's weak, he's in decline, not just his health, but literally his influence and his control over the people of his party.
What's interesting to me too is, everyone's starting to like think about him being more like it all just started with the off-term election when Democrats outperformed. And I think that gave permission to some of these people who care about only themselves to say, like, oh, wow, I better start like focusing on what's important to me because we're going to lose the midterms. And, when we're not in power, do I want to be under investigation? Do I want to be the one who is, being held up as an example of why everything is going so wrong?
Yes, and I don't think it's going to take to the midterms for there to be a power shift. I can see the Democrats gaining power either through resignations, there's a bunch of elections happening, or something unexpected may happen before the midterms where the Democrats are take power, or come together with the Republicans to hold the president accountable for his actions.
Yeah, I mean, today is a big special election in Tennessee. I don't know if you want to pull up the chart for.
Before we get there, I also
Yeah.
wanted to say something before we get there. The first quarter moons are also very important. They're a week after the full moon. And on the first quarter moon, the sun had moved into Sagittarius, which brings us into themes of, excuse me, long distance travel, and the moon in Pisces, refugees.
Mm.
Do you want to say something about the guy, the Afghan who shot?
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that's quite a tragedy. We did have the shooting of two National Guardsmen. Um, but I don't know. I don't know astrologically if I have much to say about it. I haven't really looked into it, but I will say that I think it kind of harkens back to the the chaos that we're experiencing, and every single thing can be traced back to something that has happened before. And that is something that I'm really ruminating on, is how much the past is informing the future. And like I've been watching the Ken Burns documentary about the Revolutionary War,
Ooh.
and it's so good. I'm gonna actually do a whole thing on the Revolutionary War. Astrology and like the mirrors of today and what we can glean and some of those things. But there's kind of this mass psychosis, mass delusion that is taking place with this Neptune in Pisces still. And you see this like with Candace Owens. Um, she's kind of losing it, or maybe she's not. Like it's hard to know, but it's hard to see like is this all a fantasy? Is this like a new QAnon like, mystery that's helping people be distracted? Or is this like a mental break? Like it's really hard to know. And so I feel like from what I've heard about the shooter, he had a mental breakdown. And we look back at like what happened in Afghanistan with our involvement all the way back in the George Bush years. And then we look at how the Taliban was freed by the current president. And then we see how Biden didn't stop, the plans that were in action so we could just get out of there, but there wasn't protections in place. And so then it fell apart. And then we're left with this big mess. And so there's a lot of blame to go around, I guess I would say. But the astrological big picture thing that I think is most interesting to me is that everything that is happening now has its seeds elsewhere, like in our past. And
Yeah.
so this is just such a karmic time that like we're seeing the 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 mistakes of the past messing things up today.
Yes, well, we're wrapping up several cycles. Neptune went into Pisces in 2011, and so since then, there's things ending. Uranus 2018 when it went into Taurus, Saturn 2023 when it went into Pisces. So we're wrapping up all of these cycles. I found this so interesting about the person from Afghanistan is was the day that Saturn was stationing direct.
Oh, okay.
And he murdered these two people. Then the administration is talking about this, took us to a next phase with Saturn going direct. All Afghans, like they're taking away the ability for all these different people from different countries, calling certain places third world countries. You can't get a visa, and they're intensifying this as we move into the full moon. Saturn rejects and excludes. Pisces rules things like refugees. And how can we have the Olympics in the United States when we are not allowing people from certain countries to get visas no matter what? So that brings us to this full moon on December 4th, where the sun is at 13 degrees of Sagittarius and the moon is at 13 degrees of Gemini. Across the United States, ascendant and descendant. Let me just show you that real quick. This is the United States. See how the United States has a 12 Sagittarius is our rising sign. 12 Gemini is our descendant. Us, our allies and open enemies. And Mars is at 21 Gemini. And Mars in the sky right at the full moon is going to be at 22 Sagittarius. So this is a really important full moon for the United States. And look at this. Sun, moon, 13 degrees. South node, north node, 13 degrees. The ninth house of long distance travel. The third house of paperwork like visas. I've been predicting since the spring that we were going to lose the Olympics. Now, this full moon is halfway between eclipses. So we had a lunar eclipse in Pisces, and now this full moon is squaring that lunar eclipse in Pisces. It was at 15 degrees of Pisces. So halfway between eclipse seasons, there's often a new story that comes in and that takes us forward, and we'll see. But a lot of it is about these immigration issues and what we've been dealing with, but it's taking a next step and a turn. So this is crossroads energy. How do you talk about squares to the nodes like this fixed mutable cross?
Okay, so this is the square to the nodes in the sky right now, not in the United States Sibley chart. So I think that's a very important thing for this full moon coming up because it is karmic. It is saying like you want to control things, but that is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to have compassion. You're supposed to take care of your friends. Watching this Revolutionary War, actually, will you stop sharing for a second,
Yeah.
Celeste, so we can chat? Because I do think this is the important part. So Celeste is more predictive and she works a lot with the moon phases. I work with evolutionary astrology and I care a lot about the big picture stuff. I'm a little bit more big picture and I'm much more in tune with the nodes. And so what's happening with this full moon coming up is it's triggering our fate, our karma. It's bringing up all of the issues that we have buried in the past. Pisces wants to bring the collective energy in. So, where we are supposed to be going this year, the thing that's supposed to be highlighted collectively is compassion. It is understanding. And I do think that there is an awakening in some ways of compassion. I'm hearing people talk more about income inequality. I'm hearing, and his performance numbers are down when it comes to immigration. Like, so before it was like all nice in theory, but then when people see people being nabbed off the street, they don't like that, right? Like, that's not the energy. That's not what it says on the Statue of Liberty, right? This was the thing that, especially for people who are like around Celeste and I's age, we were taught this propaganda that, we were a welcoming country, we were a melting pot, we were for immigration, like we were a shining beacon on the hill, right? Like this was like everything revolved around the Statue of Liberty and all our ancestors who came in through Ellis Island and all this stuff like that we had to learn about in school, only to be like kind of, the realization is not so pretty. Like it's not exactly what's going on right now. And so I picked a card for this and I got the Tower. So this is like shaking us out of our um, ivory towers. It's shaking us out of our, beliefs that we had when we were younger, that that's what we are. We have to look at what this country was truly founded on and how we have treated people. This country was built by slaves, indentured servants. This country, we did take land away from indigenous people. I don't know if you saw this, Celeste, but Marilyn from the TV show Northern Exposure. Does anyone remember that
I
show?
remember that show.
So Marilyn was the nurse in Northern Exposure. She was the Native American nurse, and she was a very beloved character. She was just arrested by ICE because they thought that she was Mexican and she's Native. And she showed her ID and they said it was fake and they detained her. So,
I did not see that, but I did see some Native Americans getting hassled by ICE, and they were like, "You need to get out of here with this nonsense." A woman cursed them out.
so I think that's it. It's all in our faces, whether we want to see it or not. And Gemini energy is chaotic. I don't know about you, Celeste, but like you missed that story. I really was too tuned out over Thanksgiving to like read about the shooting because I was like kind of protecting my energy. So the reality is like we don't even know where to look. There's so many scandals, but everything's starting to come out, and the chaos of that can fray our nerves and make us want to like control things again, like get things back under control. And the reality is, there is no getting the genie back in the bottle at this time. And we do have to look at our past as the present. And that's what I think this Tower card is about. So I would say there is definitely some karma and chickens coming home to roost on this new moon or around within the week or surrounding
The
it.
full moon.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Did I say
today
new moon?
is Tuesday, 2 days before the full moon. And the moon today is in Taurus, which rules our values and resources. And everybody goes to the grocery store. Everybody sees how expensive this stuff is. In Tennessee, there's a special election. I'm thinking that the woman who's a Democrat, and it's a deep red district, it's District 7. And 7 is a karmic number, and 7 is very Saturnian, that Saturn squares itself every 7 years. Whenever you hear the 7-year itch or things like that, Saturn checks in with us every 7 years. So I think it's very karmic. And the president last night was going on a tirade, reposting a bunch of nonsense on his fake Twitter.
Oh, I
He
did see
is
that. Like he reposted 150 times. Like Grandpa's
he's
going cuckoo
Grandpa
bananas.
is scared. He knows he's failing, as he's done his whole entire life. Every once in a while, can I go on a tangent?
Please.
Every
I
once
mean,
in a
I hope you guys can enjoy both of our tangents because, like, we're just sprinkling some astrology in with our politics, or at least for
every
me.
once in a while, I get so mad about the fact that people have entrusted this nation to this man who bankrupted casinos. He couldn't even sell steaks. He's fake university. I mean, it's just the mass psychosis
Yeah.
that led us to this point. I mean, his father is probably in hell. Like, what in the hell are these stupid people giving my ne'er do well son the power over this nation? I mean, he's screwed things up his whole entire life, but he talks a big game. Classic Gemini shadow energy of the confidence man. A great movie to watch in relationship to this full moon. I have two movies for you. The Grifters. This is a great movie to watch, and that's like Melanie. Wait,
Melanie Griffith,
is
or
it
I don't
was
know. I
Melanie
haven't seen
Griffith
it
in
in
that
so
one?
long.
That might be Warren Beatty's wife. I can't think of her name right
Annette
now.
Bening?
Annette Bening. Annette Bening, Kevin Spacey. It might be Melanie Griffith. The Grifters is a great movie about con artists, and House of Games, which is a classic. I highly recommend that. Yeah, perfect. There's a psychologist in it. So those two movies are great for this energy and to see how confidence people do their manipulations. And that's
Well,
very
speaking of that
Neptune and Pisces.
manipulation, is Mercury rules this full moon in Gemini, and it is direct in Scorpio. And that is manipulation. I mean, to me, the biggest sin. Like I was very sad that people voted for him in 2016. I was I was I was more alarmed and confused, in all honesty, because it was the first, like, wait, you after the Access Hollywood thing, I thought we all like realized that was like that's not what happens. But there was the kind of like the first inkling of like, oh no, this isn't going to be normal. And this time, though, after January 6th, I mean, that to me, like to have seen what happened and then to just be like, great, let's sign up for that again. That's really fascinating. And so I want us all to really kind of get into the fact that as unpleasant as all of this is, it is getting us to a new place. This is part of the extinction burst. This is the tower card. This is all of the shadow things that have been really toxic. We got to a toxic place. It's always been toxic on some levels, but like, right now it's all out in the open. A lot of this toxicity, we can't ignore, the Tulsa massacre. We can't ignore um, the reason why African Americans are suspicious of vaccines. Like, there's reasons why these things have occurred, but for a lot of people, myself included, we didn't have the full picture. The full picture now is coming out. So now it's like you do what you will with that information, but you can't ignore it anymore.
I just learned about the oatmeal experiments a couple of months ago, where the government was literally poisoning the people intentionally. And I think this was St. Louis.
Oh, I don't even
It
know.
was wild. You can look it up. Look up the oatmeal experiments.
So this is the thing is like we want to say, my son will be like, "Oh, everything's so horrible now." And I'm like, "You know what? Actually, everything's been horrible for a long time everywhere." And like it's not just the US. And like that's part of this thing. We have these cycles where, it's our turn to look and see what's been buried and what we've been doing. And it doesn't mean us personally, but where have we been complicit? Where have we not wanted to find the full information out? Where have we thought because it didn't impact me, it's not happening? And that's, I think, the thing too that a lot of people now are going to see is like, actually, it's going to start to impact you. So now what are you going to do with that information?
Yeah, and Pluto in Aquarius is unearthing all of this information about the collective experience.
And all of the like wheels starting to come out, it really did start around the time that Pluto went direct. So Pluto has not been in Pluto's full power for a while, and now Pluto is saying like it's time. Let's kick it off. So, okay, do we want to look at Mr. Hegseth as an example of
Yes, let's look at
kicking things off?
Pete Hegseth. He is the Secretary of Defense. Here, look at this. Look at this. 11 degrees of, we have his exact birth time, 11 degrees Sagittarius rising and a Gemini sun. So this full moon is across his ascendant and descendant. And whenever you have full moons across your ascendant and descendant or eclipses, it's a great time to pay attention to your health, because the ascendant is about our vitality as well as how other people are seeing you.
And it's not it's easy to miss that like it's the same degrees, like within 1 degree of the United States Sibley. Um, that was a 12-degree Gemini ascendant. This is 11 degrees. So,
It makes sense that he is part of the Pluto return of the United States, where everything is being torn down. Look at his Mars is at 12 degrees of Virgo, and the South Node is approaching his Mars. The South Node is a drain. The South Node digs things up and and unearths things. So we're seeing so much about, and Mars in his chart rules his 11th house. Somebody in Congress is investigating him, and it's a Republican, right? As well as
I
his
think it's
12th house.
bipartisan. I think there's a bipartisan call. I don't know that it's actually been initiated, but there's bipartisan calls to investigate this boat bombing where, first of all, why is this even happening? No one has, you see the comments from MAGA and it's like, oh, you don't care about drug dealers. It's like, of course we do, but this isn't like what's happening, and again, that's just propaganda because there's no proof that these are drug runners. Like, because if there was, then they would share that intelligence information with us or show the justification, but they're not doing that. What they're doing is they're just bombing boats in the Caribbean. And we know that at least one of them was, the family has come out and said that he was just a fisherman. Like, this is not true. So, and it's very sketchy what they're saying. And so what the scandal is about, first of all, that should be the scandal. But like, okay, that wasn't enough for people to care. But there were survivors after the first bomb went off, and they were clinging to the boat. And allegedly, according to the Washington Post, Pete Hegseth gave the order to bomb them again to kill all the survivors. And so there was a second bombing. And now Pete Hegseth, first they denied it, then they admitted that there was a second bombing, and now they're saying it was a different admiral, Admiral Bradley or something like that. So basically now they're throwing someone else under the bus.
Yeah, he
So
thinks he's slick, being a Gemini, talking about how he has full confidence in this Bradley guy who
oh
they're
my God,
trying
dude,
to
the
make a fall.
Neptune is right on his moon
Yes, it is. Neptune is
in
right on his
Pisces.
moon,
Oh, the
which rules his
delusion is
eighth
real,
house.
man. Oh my God.
And Neptune is squaring his Venus, which rules his midheaven. So his job. So Neptune is bringing to light things about him. On December 10th, Neptune goes direct at 29 degrees of Pisces. So be ready for him to, I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised if we could see video of him or pictures of him drunk as a skunk, but definitely stuff is coming out. The next week's podcast is called the Celestial Insights podcast is the Gaslight District. So we'll see what comes to light with Neptune going direct. But look, right now Mars is approaching. Mars is on his
Neptune.
Neptune. So that could be like taking actions that get you nowhere. He's trying to like throw this Bradley under the bus.
Wow. This definitely does not like look good for him. That's what I would definitely say.
Look at this.
Mercury and Scorpio right on his Uranus in the 11th in Scorpio. I mean, this chart is like if I was to elect a chart of somebody in trouble, like with this scandal, that would be this chart.
I would call this, he is coming undone. He's ungluing. He's being like the package is unraveling in real time. Yeah.
The South Node. Okay, so we're bouncing around, so we'll break it down for you. The South Node is on his Mars. This is a story about somebody who took an action, who wanted to control things, who wanted to do things his way, who thought he was invincible. Okay. This is Mr. Good looking, Mr. Perfect, like Mr. Like you said, Mr. Slick. He's a Gemini, right? And he's got a Pisces moon. So he's like, talk my way. I can sweet talk my way into anything, right? So this is a little bit of a very insecure con artist, but the South Node is triggering his Mars up there in the ninth house. Mars is violence, and here is the death, overseas in the ninth house, giving the command to unalive people in the Caribbean, and the South Node is coming up and being like, okay, it's time to pay the piper for that action, because that's not what the evolutionary purpose of Mars in the ninth house is really about. So there's some definite literal stuff here with Mercury right on the Uranus in the 11th house. He is a rebel. He thinks he is untouchable. He thinks that he can manipulate other people within Congress. And then now, something's coming to light during this time as the full moon in Gemini pops that bubble. So what do you think, Celeste?
And look how this is in his natal chart. He has Uranus in Scorpio squaring the nodes. South node in Aquarius, North node in Leo. How would you read that, Dabney? So he comes up against a choice point.
So in the past, he has felt like an outsider. He has felt helpless. He has felt like almost like okay, here's just what came to me. And I'm not saying this is literal, but like a Rasputin figure. Somebody who maybe was, something really powerful happened to this person. He was definitely odd in some ways. Like he wasn't accepted. But the Uranus square there in Scorpio meant that he was crossed in some way, in a very dramatic way that came out of nowhere, that was violent. And that's where I think I got the Rasputin from. Like just like there was something that was like fast and violent. And so this guy feels powerless. This guy feels like an outsider. And so there is the insecurity that he's brought into this world, is feeling like he is not worthy of getting along and being like one of the crew. So here he elevates himself, which is very north node, not too far from that Jupiter. So actually, in a lot of ways, it's a good thing that he has risen to, for his karma, risen to a position of power. Okay, the Leo, like he was on TV and like, so in a lot of ways, that's a really positive thing. But that north node in the square to Uranus means that he has to incorporate a sense of bringing people together in a unique and dynamic way. He has to look at his own shadow. That's important for him to be a leader with integrity is to incorporate his own shadow and not act out of manipulation or spontaneity. That's going to be his undoing every time. The higher path for him is to actually be a really powerful, strong leader that can say no in the face of pressure from other people. So, kind of incorporating some of that outsider energy. Um, but that's not what's happening, right? It's kind of like the hubris has taken over. So it's going to be interesting to see with Mercury activating that, and the Mercury being the ruler of this
Full moon.
the moon.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. And he got in trouble with misappropriating funds with his something about the National Guard. I don't know his whole story, but he has gotten in trouble by financial malfeasance. He was on, Fox
Oh.
News anchor. You said this, and I saw clips. I didn't see the whole episode, but South Park gave him the treatment last week, and they
Oh,
said
it's so good.
that thing where he couldn't really do a pull up. He couldn't execute a good pull up, and they really gave it to him. So
This
yeah.
guy has a lot of karmic pain. That's what I see. And I do see, and that Uranus in Scorpio could also be financial malfeasance. It doesn't, there could be like he was kind of up to no good. He did steal from people in the past or things like that. So there is kind of this sense of like, it's a pretty dark past life story that I'm seeing. His karma being that of as somebody who was, like I said, not only an outsider, but like manipulation in some way crossed him. And this lifetime, he's supposed to do things differently. He's supposed to be a powerful leader. He's supposed to be a strong leader. He's supposed to actually care about other people and communicate effectively. And yeah, and work on his shadow stuff, not just bury it in the bottle.
And he has Saturn in Virgo squaring Neptune in Sagittarius, and that's a pretty tight square. It's 1 degree off, and they are moving together in the sky. So Saturn and Neptune are going to meet on February 20th in Aries, the sign of the military. So there may be a big story about him facing his karma. And we
Celeste,
may
what do you make of the Lilith on the midheaven and him being allegedly credibly accused of sexual assault?
it may be a woman who takes him down, or his ultimate downfall is what's coming to me. And that the partners he has, in terms of, I'm getting strange bedfellows energy with that, and him aligning himself with the president will be his ultimate comeuppance, is what I'm thinking.
This moon to me says there's a sacrificial energy about this guy. Like,
He's definitely a sacrificial lamb.
yeah. And he's
Mm,
gonna try and get away with accusing somebody else, but I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't think so either. Yeah, he's in his Uranus opposition. It's ending, and his Saturn opposition. Uranus is now in Taurus. It will not come all the way back to this 22 degrees. Saturn's now going direct, but it's finishing up those cycles, those lessons he was supposed to learn since 2018 for Uranus, 2023 for Saturn. Yeah, this is very big, very karmic for
He's
him.
in denial, big time denial, though. Neptune on the sun or on the moon, he thinks that he can get away with it. But
Yeah.
cloud your mind, man. Neptune will definitely, he might be in a haze right now for sure with what, like the seriousness of what might be coming.
Oh, I'm sure he's in quite a haze. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there was something. Let's pull up the full moon again. I don't. So this Mercury retrograde has been insane.
It's been a big one. I'll
It's
give you that. I've had some issues.
direct, but I have had so many like technical glitches and all this kind of mess. But how interesting. It's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, because wait, what in the world is this? Oh, this is last Dabney. I don't know what's going on.
A lot going on here. You got it. You got it. But you
But
pulled it up for Minneapolis again.
this is at least this is the right full moon. It was announced today they're going after the Somali community. I just saw this online in Minneapolis. So we will get to see how Minneapolis shows up for ICE. Coming up will be part of the story about this full moon potentially, or the next 2 weeks as the moon's light is shedding over us. There'll be things that are happening over the next 2 weeks that lead to the new moon in Sagittarius that's coming December 19th. So we'll see what's happening with that. But
Liz, would you like to pick some cards?
yes, let me turn this mess off. I never, ever, ever had my computer going so haywire with this. I'll use the World Predictions deck. So
Okay.
what do we need to know about what is the big story of this full moon?
Yeah, I think what's the energy of the full moon on a US or world political?
Okay. I'm going to pick 3 cards. We know the story of, there's an election today. I think my podcast this week, Celestial Insights podcast, was called The Thrill of Victory. So we'll see how this shows up. Are we going to invade?
Ugh, I don't want to think about invading anything.
Okay.
Too stressful.
Oh, okay.
I know. I was just lecturing everybody about looking at our shadow and like now I'm like, oh, I can't deal with it.
Okay. Well, floods, heavy rain. So this could be about, I feel like, deception, propaganda. There are literally so many floods and heavy rain around the world. So there can be big stories. In the US, there's some freezing temperatures. The Bay Area is freezing this
I'm
week.
so cold.
And there's storms potentially on the East Coast as well. So pay attention to the weather. Change is coming.
There's that tower card.
Look, and then, yeah, this is a woman on here. I wonder if this could be something about the election. We'll see. And then distraction, illusion. So what are they doing? I hope they're, yeah. What are they doing?
You're feeling like maybe there's going to be a wag the dog situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's definitely that he is the master manipulator. He is the master at marketing. That's all very Gemini, by the way. That is absolutely Gemini energy.
Yeah.
So, when you pulled the flood card, obviously there have been floods in other parts of the world. That's probably going to continue. But what that made me think of was the Neptune directly on Hegseth's moon. Like that is an emotional flood. Like that's like, you're just overwhelmed. So that's some definite overwhelm. So change is coming. There is no doubt that change is coming. I mean, I'm going to do some 2026 stuff coming up. I have not yet, but I promise I will. I've been focused on getting that transit course done. But this is going to be I think what got kicked off when Pluto went direct, then that big new moon in Scorpio then now it's all part of the unfolding and the collapse of the old order that has to happen in order to get us to the next phase in 2026.
Yeah, and a cornered rat is extremely dangerous. So
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
exactly. It's not a happily ever after yet by
No.
any stretch. We've got a lot more to go through, but I will say things are going to eventually calm down. But if you are a history buff too, check out that Ken Burns Revolutionary War on PBS. What's fascinating to me is the mass psychosis that was going on then too. And like also people, getting angry and like not knowing what they were getting into. But ultimately, like it's more of a nuanced picture than the propaganda that we were given growing up as children, right? Like there's not like, oh, our founding fathers. I'm actually going to do a video called Daddy Issues and the End of the Golden Age. I haven't had time to do it, but that is ultimately, it's to get us from one place to the other. So, a lot of crazy energy sometimes has to happen and shake out. But I just think about what the world would be like without testosterone sometimes. Like if we didn't have all these wars and stuff, like if we could figure it out in a way that didn't cause such drama.
Well, we do need both the masculine and the feminine.
I
We'd
know.
like to move more into the divine,
Healthy
healthy masculine and feminine.
testosterone can be great. I'm just thinking of the negative Pete Hegseth testosterone.
Yeah, the wars, we're
The
seeing this
foe,
so
insecure.
magnified. Like Tucker Carlson is going nuts too. Yeah, it's all
But
these
see, it's
people.
all coming back to their own insecurities. It's crazy. Like, that little, people may not remember, he used to run around with a little bow tie and
Yeah,
act like he was like, he wasn't like up in Maine chopping wood. Trust me, that guy was like,
yeah, he is such a not to be rude, but he's such a beta male masquerading as an alpha.
right, but I think that's what's going on with all of them. Anywho, we're going off topic now. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick one last card. Anything else you want to say, Celeste?
Well, underneath it all is cyber attack. So this to me is like the president tweeting 10,000 times.
Or, also somebody hacking in or like exposing, some stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just,
Yeah, there will be information reveals related to the full moon.
all right, this is full moon. This is my Kali deck that my friend gave me. In
Oh,
order, so it's kind of like, look, the head.
oh, that looks like Medusa.
In order to grow, the soul may need to separate itself from that which it once relied upon. Oppression will be overcome. Do not cling to what has been. Sometimes the best way to heal from the past is to cut it off completely and focus on inner regeneration and reorientation toward a more fulfilling future. You shall know freedom.
And what is the name of the card?
This card is Chinnamastata. I do not know if anyone can read that.
Ah,
But
Chinnamasta.
this is the
Reminds me of
Kali Oracle
Medusa.
yeah, I don't Chinnamasta. Anybody
Oh,
knows it does look like Medusa. So I don't know this dark goddess.
so who is being beheaded is the question. Is someone going to lose their job or get fired this week or quit? Mm.
Yeah. There's a change a coming and look to that election because I'm
Is
not going to predict one way or the other because I've been let down too many times. But I would like to manifest good news in Tennessee, but if that happens, that is such a like you're going to see some more people resigning from Congress. Like you're going to see some big shifts happen because then they're going to realize they're even going to lose red districts.
yes, yeah,
So,
that mutable cross.
because that
13,
would say like if
13,
and like
13 is a number that has a lot of significance. Yeah.
well, I'm just gonna say that like that'll show that they won't even be able to like gerrymander and suppress the
Cheat their way out of it. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. Sorry, everyone, about my technical difficulties and my coughing fit. Oh, I wanted to tell a story. Is it too late? We've been going on too long. Never mind.
no, you can try. Okay, I'm just gonna say one thing, and that's there's a reason and a season for it all, and the universe is trying to conspire to help us. So don't forget that. And then we're gonna let Celeste try to tell her story, but my computer's running out of battery. So if it gets cut off, then for another time.
Oh, okay. Just the story. I saw on Threads. A woman was posted about how she got this great job opportunity. She lives in Denver. I mean, she lives in Boulder, but the job is in Denver and it's like $25,000 more. And her boyfriend's like, you can't take that job. I don't want to move. Da, 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 da. And she's seriously considering, and it's only 45 minutes apart. So he's like not giving any thought to how he can make her dream come true. It's her dream job. It's not just the money. And she's considering the relationship. Is it going to last? Or is it time to end it? And it's such, and I just posted to her that we're having a full moon in Gemini on Thursday. This is crossroads energy. Gemini rules short distance travel. This is her experience. What is your big philosophy? The sun in Sagittarius. Is this relationship going to last? Are you going to go for your dreams, or are you going to subvert yourself and put this relationship first for someone who won't even have a conversation about how, and compromise is not an option with him. So that was her experience. So think about your experience, especially if you have things around 13 degrees of the mutable signs.
Yeah, and so I'll tell a quick thing. My south node is right around there. And I was reminded of that by watching an astrology video. And I realized like I was falling back into old patterns and I had to course correct. I had, was kind of doing my thing that I do and trying to take care of everybody and like sacrificing myself. And I literally watched this video and I was like, oh my God, that's right on the moon. No way can I do that. And I like course corrected. So you can work consciously with it, figure out where Gemini is for you. The overarching theme does have to do with how you communicate. And it has to do with information coming to light and also the karmic triggers of like, don't get into worry mind. Gemini can like spaz out and like worry about everything. Like everything is unfolding. That's the square to the nodes. This is all part of the plan. This is all part of fate. This is destiny. Like take care of yourself. Don't get into hyper controlling, worrying mind because it's not going to do any good. So that would be my what this is about from a, individual standpoint.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks, Les. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. And check out the Lunar Planning Guide for 2026. I think you'll love it.
Yep. The link will be below. All right. Take care, everyone.